The last video I did on Honkai Star Rail was uploaded on March 4th. It would have been better if it was March 7th, but anyway, yeah. Gonna be real, it wasn't the most positive video. In fact, that may be too charitable. It was more so an indictment of how the game seemingly had a knack for promoting mechanics that run counterintuitive to the game's own design, culminating in what I felt to be the most egregious example to date at the time with the introduction of global passives. Castoris had a nutty universal revive mechanic that I just could not get over. Any universal mechanic would already be playing with unprecedented levels of FOMO, but doing it with a revive that doesn't even require the character to be on your team is a bridge way too far. For one, it's a bit of a trivialization, but besides that, having a fifth character just do this in the background kind of goes against the game's 4-character rule. For you to access this kind of power, you should be required to run her in an actual team. I stood on that opinion then, I still stand on that opinion now. But concerning that time period, that wasn't the only thing I was beginning to feel bad about. You see, the Remembrance path was also new, and it seemed like these characters were going to be really strong. And I mean, that's fine, there's nothing wrong with that. But to the point that older characters start to feel like they're no longer viable, or at least are becoming less viable, it can become a problem. Which, that's how I began to feel about characters I love, such as Kafka and Black Swan. You could still play them, but they were notably less potent than other characters, which was kind of sad considering that these are two of the characters I like the most in the game. And so, all said, I took a break. I don't know, I wasn't feeling it, man. I just wasn't feeling it. And I don't think I'm the only one who felt that way. I've heard stories of people literally that have decided that they're just gonna quit the game. I never once said I was gonna quit it, but I functionally did quit it. But my interest is returning, and I believe it's doing all the right things to keep itself and past characters relevant and keep the game fun. I mean, importantly, and this may be more personal than systemic, but they just released my favorite character in the game so far, Cipher, and yeah, this is my character. I have not pulled a character since the Herda, which says quite a bit, and it wasn't because I was saving or something, I just haven't been on the game. My expectations for the Remembrance path to come and overshadow everything we've done so far, rendering all our past experience and characters useless, was something I really feared. So, when Cipher did come along and she was Nihility and not Remembrance, plus she worked really well with Acheron and Fei Xiao, that really caught my attention. No one wants their characters that they've invested in for so long to just fall off. That doesn't feel good. We spend way too much time, and in some cases, maybe even way too much money, doing what we can to bring our characters up to a sufficient power level to keep up with the game. And sure, power creep may be something that we should just expect, but there is a difference between something being power crept and something just not being usable anymore because it literally can't get the job done. And while Acheron nor Fei Xiao ever reached that point, I was a little bit skeptical, a little bit worrisome, because I missed Jingliu when she first ran because I wasn't yet playing the game, but I did get her on her rerun because I'd heard good things. And yet, by that rerun, by the time I got her, I was already not that impressed. She got very little play because, she wasn't keeping up with the other characters, but I think that's saying a lot that by the first rerun, she had already dropped so much in power. There was a clear gap between her and the newly released Acheron, but fast forward to today, and I was scared that the same thing was going to happen to Acheron. And that's where the speedy Catwoman comes in. In the 3.x era and the age of Remembrance, she's come out at a time where you kind of wouldn't expect it, but she works really well with Acheron and Fei Xiao. This is a really good thing. I cannot express enough how good that is. It is so good to see that they have not abandoned older characters and that they will still release characters in the future that will work with them. Cipher was an extremely important part of restoring some of my confidence and my investment in the game. And considering I've missed out on every Remembrance character so far, and I don't even have Remembrance Trailblazer yet, because I'm still on the very first part of the story in 3.x. Considering all that, it's kind of important that I can come back and have some way to ease back into the game that isn't locked into the Remembrance path. Now I have a strong character that can help me with what's already on my account as I begin to flesh out my Remembrance characters. She's just such a good character to release at such an important time for me. Helps ease me back into the game with some of my older characters, plus gives them some relevancy, and just a good bridge back into the game overall. All in all though, she's helped restore some lost confidence. I'm feeling a lot better about Star Rail after seeing a character like this, and that's not all. I just really like the character a lot too. I mean, that has nothing to do with anything, but Cipher is probably my favorite character. And I haven't even met her in the story yet because again, I haven't really done 3.x stories yet. Yeah, I mean, that's how little I've actually been playing over the past few months, but I don't even have to meet her in the story to know that. Like, some things you just know. Some things you just know. Yeah, I like her gameplay. I like her voice lines. I really like her appearance. Not to be cringe, but yeah, you know. The point is, this character has helped to rekindle some of my interests. In more ways than one, I guess. But, Cipher is not the only thing that I believe is a good sign for the game. Not just something I like personally. We all have things we personally like, but I mean actually a good thing for the game. Like, I don't just like Cipher. I think that her inclusion is a positive thing in a time where anxiety about our old characters falling off is at an all-time high, and I know I'm not the only one who's had that concern. While Cipher is an important sign that they will be looking for future ways to throw old characters a bone, they are also planning to just retroactively buff a lot of old characters anyway. And not just buffed, like not just their numbers being increased so that they can do sufficient damage, but they're being like reworked and stuff into fitting a more modern game. Like, it's really surprising. It's really surprising. And I'm not gonna complain, but I didn't think that they would undertake such a large scale kind of operation to really modernize some of these characters. We have Blade, Kafka, Jingliu, and Silverwolf. Kafka is going to be doing many more follow-up attacks now, plus she's going to be detonating dot damage more consistently and potently. Jingliu is going from attack-based to HP-based scaling, plus she's having some changes with her skill point consumption, so she'll feel smoother overall. Silverwolf's implant now prioritizes whatever element aligns with the first character in the lineup, making it much more consistent and easier to work around, plus her defense rating is now turning from single target to AoE. And now Blade also has HP scalings and stuff too, similar to Jingliu, as well as a couple of other buffs to things like his energy regeneration. Dude, this is incredible. Star Rail has been marred by accusations of power creep and characters falling off, irrelevancy, HP inflation, all kinds of things. Now it seems like they're actually trying to take care of the characters we already have really one of the best efforts I've seen in a game like this, in an attempt to modernize some outdated characters while still focusing on the brand new. The combination of older characters being modernized to a new standard, as well as new characters that specifically work well with older characters, instills a level of investment confidence that is very appreciated in a game like this. You know, it makes you feel like you can pull a character you like and just not have to worry about their future, because even if they do fall a little bit behind, chances are they will be given some love. And they're still doing all this while still juggling the new Remembrance path. I did MOC, and I was happy to see that they did not completely cut everything off and make it all about Remembrance, so that I actually have a chance. Memo sprite levels +2, yes, but all skill levels +3. Great, no matter who I play, I still have a benefit. And that was very useful because I actually got all stars on floor 12. Granted, it took 8 cycles, I went all the way down to 22, but still I was able to do it. And out of all the 8 characters I used, the only new one was Cipher. Well, and you can maybe say the Herda, because she did come out like right at the start of 3.0, and I did pull her before and build her, so she's kind of new. But the point is, it didn't require any of the Remembrance characters, nothing like that. I was able to do this with things that were already just sitting on my account. Untouched for months, by the way, like, nothing's been changed. These are just the same builds, same characters I already had months ago, so I think that's pretty good. I think that's especially notable because I don't have Robin for various reasons. I cannot deal with a song every time a character ults. I cannot do that. But on top of it, it's almost a principled thing because the character is really strong and I just no. But that said, my facial kind of struggles, I guess you can say. But even so, yeah, I was still able to do this with just her, Hunt March, and Cipher. And Huohuo. I didn't even have Adventuring on the team, dude. Like, like I had Huohuo. I didn't even have Topaz on the team. This is just making stuff up at this point, and it still worked. The only addition was Cipher. And then on the other side, there was just the Herda, which, well, I'm not going to say just the Herda. Okay, I'm not going to say that. That character is bonkers. The Herda is kind of a crazy character, but still, her teammates were Jade, Ranmei, and Linksha. Still nothing absolutely crazy or anything, but I was able to comfortably complete it, and that makes me feel really good about where the game is heading. I don't feel like I'm gonna be left behind. I don't feel like me losing a few months of the game has put me behind. I feel like I just pulled one character. Like, I pulled one character and that's the only thing I've done, and I'm still relevant. That feels good. And if Starville is going to continue doing things like this, then I don't feel as skeptical about the game's future anymore. I'm still skeptical of mechanics like global passives, and that hasn't changed, but at least as far as the relevancy of my account, the relevancy of older characters, I feel a little bit better about that. Especially considering we've now seen marketing for characters like Hysolins. I think that's how you pronounce it, Hysolins. Anyway, point is, she's physical and nihility. And if she happens to be another dot-based character, especially one that can elevate the likes of Kafka and maybe even Black Swan, then I will lose my mind. That would be a situation similar to what's going on with Cipher right now. A new character that works well with new characters too, sure, but is really good with the older characters. If Hysolins is a character that is meant to be played with Kafka and maybe Black Swan, then yeah, I think we're on a really good path. No pun intended. We'll see, but they're already giving Kafka some buffs and some changes, so that's cool enough in itself. I need to start focusing on some Remembrance characters now, but at least I can do that now without feeling like I'm basically putting my other characters in the dumpster. That's the main point here. I just don't want to go ahead with new things while completely throwing away the old. I have a lot of story to get through right now because I was not here, but I think it'll be worth it. It'll be good. I'm going to play the game, I'm going to catch up to everything, and I think I'm going to begin having a good time again. And you know, it's kind of funny and a little bit ironic, but they're finally releasing a skip button. Dude. Whoa. Whoa. Yeah, the skip button. But the thing is, I actually do have interest in this, so despite me being a few patches behind, I think I'm truly gonna just play the story. I don't think I want to skip it, yeah. So, it's just nice to know that it's always there though if you do want it. Which I mean, yeah, you never know. Like, I might get 10 hours into this thing and be like, bruh, I'll just read up on it later. Like, dude, because they can yap in this game. Oh man, they yap. Oh my god. But anyway, yeah, I do think that that's a positive addition too, and it just goes to show that they are listening to those kinds of things. I mean, they didn't just put that into the game on their own accord. That is definitely them listening to what people are saying. In any case, Star Rail is winning my love once again. I wasn't feeling good about the game, I'm just being completely honest, but I don't know, maybe I was just judging a little bit too early. Or maybe not, maybe Hoyo has data, and because of people like me who just kinda stopped playing out of nowhere, spenders mind you, they understand that there are things that they need to be doing in order to satisfy the player base. Whatever the case, I'm just glad to see the game now addressing some of its issues. I'm glad to see older characters staying relevant. I'm glad to see newer characters that, work with those older characters. And I am still glad to see things like the Remembrance path. Don't get me wrong, it kind of sounds like I'm dogging the new path, and I'm not. It's just, I don't want anything new to make anything old irrelevant. And I also don't want the game to shift so much that if I do take a 3, 4, 5 month break, that when I come back I have no chance at anything. Star Rail's taking steps to make sure these things don't happen though, and so I think I'll be satisfied. I'm willing to ride the Astral Express once again. So great job, Star Rail. You've won me back. Cipher was probably 99% of that though.